Good afternoon. Hello. Hi. All right. Thank you. Hey, I'm glad to see you all here today. But before I introduce our speaker of the day, I wanted to give a shout out to a Mother's Day wish, which I know I'm ahead of time, but I'm not going to be here to do this. A Mother's Day wish to all the mothers here in the room and all the ones that have stepped up and taken on the role of providing support to others in the mother's role. So let's give a big hand to all the mothers, because you are so appreciated. So appreciated. And then one quick thing, early birthday to Pat. I understand her birthday's in a couple days, so how about happy birthday to Pat? Pat, you want to raise your hand over there? Okay? All right. So again, mothers, we appreciate each and every one of you for all you do, and I hope that you all enjoy your day, okay? So now, to our speaker. We have with us someone that's going to talk to us about nutrition, about mindful eating, and mood foods, whatever that is. So I'm not quite sure what it is, but I want to hear what she's referring to. So please welcome Katie Zunker from Hy-Vee, the dietitian from Hy-Vee Corporation. Katie Zunker, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm excited to be here today, talk a little bit about the good mood foods, as Janice said. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, just feel free to stop me or raise your hand, and we can take the care of answering those questions right away. We don't have to wait till the end.
Okay.
Right, so during the presentation, we'll go over these objectives. So we're going to explore how mood can influence our eating habits, and how eating habits can in turn affect our mood. So it goes both ways. We'll identify key nutrients that play a role in mood regulation, and we'll also recognize lifestyle and health factors that may affect your mood beyond diet. Then just to give a basic definition of mood. So mood is the state or quality of feeling at a particular time, influenced by various factors such as environment, emotions, and attitude. So mood, like it says here, is at one point in time, lots of different factors that are impacting how we're feeling and our mood at that given time. Then we'll talk a little bit about the mood-food connection. So we'll dive a little deeper into this cycle and show how food can be the secret weapon to either support your mood, or if we're not eating mindfully, it can in turn work against us. So when things aren't going as planned and maybe we're anxious, or anxious mood hits, it usually spills over into our food choices. So sometimes that can be not making the best choices, or it could be not wanting to eat at all. So that mood and that stress, that can affect how we're eating and what we're eating. So say maybe you delay your lunch break, skip a meal altogether, just pick up whatever is convenient instead of packing something or preparing for that hunger. So all those things are influenced by our mood. And for example, if say I get caught up at work and I'm not eating at my normal time, I'm getting later in the day, maybe I just go in the Hy-Vee food court and get something quick and convenient, maybe not the most healthy choice. That may give me instant gratification because I'm so hungry, I'm just looking for something right away. But then over time, maybe I ate too much, or it's just not keeping me as energized. I'm feeling sluggish after that. So it's important to think about that overall, long term of how what we're eating is going to affect us for the rest of the day. And a little more on how our mood affects our food choices. So looking first at the biological mechanisms. So our mood is closely linked to our brain chemistry and hormones, so it influences both our appetite and our cravings. Maybe when we're feeling low or anxious, mentally drained, the brain often is going to push towards those foods that provide comfort to us. So it may be something that we grew up eating, or just our favorite foods. May not be the most nutrient dense, but it's something that it just provides us that quick comfort, instant energy. Oftentimes it's going to be higher in sugar, higher in fat, maybe has some caffeine in it to give us that boost of energy right away. So in contrast, when our mood is steady and positive, it's easier to stay in tune with our hunger cues and make those balanced choices. So instead of looking for that something quick that will give us that quick energy and spike it up fast, we want something that's going to really stabilize our energy and keep us balanced throughout the day. So these shifts in mood can shape our eating patterns, our emotions. So looking more at the stress-induced eating patterns, the emotional eating, or mindless eating. So that's when we turn to food, again, for the comfort during times of sadness, maybe boredom, fatigue. So that's maybe when we're snacking, say in the evening, too, if we're just watching TV, we're not really thinking about if we're actually truly hungry. We're just looking for something to munch on and keep us busy. So that could be more that emotional eating or mindless eating when you're just digging back into that bag of chips and before you know it, half of it is gone. Skipping meals, so when our mood is low or motivation is lacking, maybe we don't feel like preparing a full meal for ourselves. Just getting meals can be delayed or forgotten, leading to energy crashes and potentially overeating later. So if we are skipping those meals, oftentimes later in the day or at that next meal, we're going to eat more than we would have eaten if we would have had a different meal earlier or even a snack. Just because we're so hungry, we're not really in tune with our stomachs. Our brain is working faster than we feel full. It can also disrupt our hunger cues. So when our mood fluctuates, it can make it harder to tell the difference between true hunger and those emotional cravings. So true hunger is when we're really feeling hungry from our stomach is growling, we're ready to eat. And again, the emotional is just when we're thinking about food or we're craving it. Caffeine and sugar reliance. So again, those are more those quick fixes like coffee, soda, sweets. They tend to boost our mood, which can lead to energy swings. So our blood sugar may go up, but then we have an even bigger dip in our energy after the fact. So over time, these patterns, they fuel a cycle of poor nutrition, which is going to worsen mood and cause those mood challenges, contributing and continuing to disrupt our healthy eating habits. Alright, so next we'll look at some examples of how specific foods and nutrients affect our mood. So first we'll start with caffeine. So we talked a little bit about that already, but caffeine acts as a stimulant. So it can provide, again, that quick energy. So if we're having that cup of coffee in the morning to get us going, it's boosting our energy fast, but then it can lead to feelings of jitteriness, nervousness, anxiety, and not that steady, stable energy. So it doesn't necessarily happen in everyone, but people who are sensitive to caffeine can really feel the effects. Alcohol, that works as a depressant, so it primarily right away can lead to relaxation or feeling kind of an escape, but once it wears off, it often contributes to irritability, low mood, heightened anxiety, so all things we obviously want to avoid. Some things that are helpful for us then, magnesium, so that can support relaxation, helps calm the nervous system. Inadequate intake, it makes it harder to maintain a steady mood, and can also just make it even harder to sleep if we don't have adequate magnesium. So magnesium does play a part in our sleep cycle too. Our B vitamins, so we use those for a lot of different, go ahead.
Can you tell us which foods have magnesium?
Yeah, so the question was, can we talk about which foods have magnesium? And we will be getting to that in a few slides. Right, so B vitamins, those are really good for our brain health, brain functioning, again, mood regulation. Low levels can contribute to fatigue, feeling poor concentration, mood instability. And then the omega-3 fatty acids, so those are found in fatty fish, so they're both animal sources and plant-based sources that contain the omega-3s. Our best options are the ones that are in like the fatty fish or the animal sources. Chia seeds, flax seeds are another good options to get another form of the omega-3s in the diet. And that can be linked to improved mood stability, emotional well-being, so it plays a big part in our brain health. So it can be said that food that we're eating each day can either nurture a positive, steady mood, or it can make it harder to feel balanced and resilient. So it's important to really recognize that and to make those food choices that are going to keep us feeling good all day long. Right, and a little bit on gut health and mental wellness, and we'll talk more about the gut-brain connection later in the presentation. But we're seeing more and more that our gut health and the different bacteria and all the good probiotics in our intestines can help with our mental health. So the two influence each other. When one is out of balance, it can impact the other. And so if we aren't paying attention to our gut health, it can affect our mood in turn. So it's really the only organ that can perform functions without oversight of the brain. So it has its own nervous system. There's 100 million brain cells or neurons in your gut, so it can act kind of independently of the brain. And then the brain interprets the signals from the gut as emotions, so that maybe when you're feeling those gut reactions or gut feelings. And it's a very sensory organ too, so the two greatly influence each other. Right, and then we'll get into the components of a balanced meal. Right, so balanced food equals a balanced mood. So you may have heard the saying that you are what you eat. So of course if you eat Brussels sprouts, you're not going to become one. But in a deeper sense, this phrase might carry more truth than we really give it credit for. So we've just established that what we eat can directly influence our mentality, our emotions, physically, how we're feeling. So research continues to show that there is a strong connection between poor nutrition and low mood. So when our bodies aren't getting the nutrients that they need, it's harder to feel energized, focused, or emotionally balanced. So what is balanced eating? So at its core, it really means including a wide range of nutrients in our diet. So if anyone's heard of the plate method and how we want to have half of our plate as the fruits and vegetables, a quarter protein, and a quarter of the healthy carbohydrates, and getting some dairy as well. That's really what we want to do. We want to eat in those portions. We want to give our body plenty of that fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, the whole grains, the proteins. The protein is important to help stabilize our energy and keep us level throughout the day. And then healthy fats too, so that plays a big part in our brain health. Vitamins and minerals, so we're going to find those in all those foods. And then antioxidants, so we need those as well for our body to function at its best. Nutrient density, so that's a phrase that is often heard, especially by dietitians. So I was always talking about nutrient density. So it means the amount of beneficial nutrients like the vitamins, the minerals, fiber, protein, water that we're finding in food. So it's just, we want to look for foods that have a higher nutrient density per calorie, so we're getting almost the most bang for our buck if we want to think about it that way. We're getting more vitamins, more nutrients for that 1 calorie compared to something that's less nutritious. So things that would be high in nutrient density, things like nuts, the fruits and vegetables, that we're getting all those vitamins and minerals in, compared to something like soda or a sugary drink where it's very much so empty calories. We're just getting the sugar that's not going to give us all those good nutrients. So again, not all food sources are equal. If we're thinking, again, back to the nuts, so if we think about 200 calories of almonds, that's going to give us a different ratio between carbohydrates, fats, and proteins than we would get from something like crackers, too. So crackers would be primarily carbohydrates, where the almonds, we're getting the fiber in there, we're getting protein, the healthy fats. All right, so then thinking a little bit more about how this may affect us. So when we nourish ourselves well, we're more likely to feel well, and that affects every part of our life. You know, how we are just at work or in our circles, connecting with others, and how we care for ourselves. All right, then I have a trivia question here. So how many people in the United States eat enough fruits and vegetables each day? So if, I'll read the choices. You can raise your hand for the one that you think it is. So do you think it's A, 12%, B, 15%, C, 22%, or D, 30%?
C.
All right, so it is A. It is the 12%. So it's quite a low number that people just aren't getting those nutrients that they need in the fruits and vegetables. So really if we're thinking about that plate, and the next slide will show us the My Plate too, but most people don't see half of their plate being the fruits and vegetables. It's maybe a third of those, and then a third protein and a third carbohydrates, or even less. But if we can have at least a serving of fruit or vegetables or both at a meal, then we're well on our way to getting that daily goal. So here's that My Plate that I was referencing earlier. So the components of a balanced meal. So again, you can see that we want half of our plate to be the fruits and vegetables. The vegetables are going to be, both fruits and vegetables are great in fiber. They're going to be, especially the vegetables, low in calories. They're both carbohydrates, but a healthy carbohydrate. And then we'll have a quarter of our plate being the protein, specifically lean proteins, so chicken, fish, even beef that is a leaner cut, or if we're getting ground beef, 93.7, that's always a good one to aim for. Or and then a quarter of our plate the grains, and as much as we can do the whole grains, that's going to be best for us. So if we're thinking about bread, we want to do whole wheat bread, or pasta, same thing, whole wheat, brown rice. Anything with more of that fiber in it is going to be more nutritious for us. And then the dairy, if we can do a lower fat dairy, so if that's skim milk or 1%, maybe it's low fat cheese, low fat yogurt, and that helps. Thinking about this plate can help with portions, trying to get a colorful plate that we're eating too. All right, then we'll dig a little deeper into those different nutrients and see which foods can affect every part of our health. All right, so the nutrients that can impact our mood. We'll look first at probiotics. Has everyone heard of probiotics? Is that a new term? Anybody? Yeah. So the probiotics are the beneficial live bacteria that are formed during food fermentation, and they help to aid in our digestion. So when we're eating foods with the bacteria, they're helping us to digest. They're helping get have our system, our GI tract moving smoothly. And they can promote regular bowel movements, and they can combat harmful cells that can cause different diseases as well. So they keep us healthy, and again, that keeps our gut in check. So probiotics, they can boost levels of serotonin in the body. So that's a neurotransmitter that is connected to our mood as well as our appetite and our stress response. So up to 90% of the serotonin that our body makes is produced in the gut. So that's a big amount of that serotonin, and a very large percentage that we do want to make sure that we're taking care of the gut in order to get that good neurotransmitter for our mood. So if we think about if we've ever been anxious, nervous, or stressed and felt that queasy feeling in our stomach, this shows that everything is working together. So our gut microbiome is playing a part in our brain health. So we're feeling that in our stomach, but it's also, how we're feeling. It's our mood. It's all connected. There is a lot of emerging research that highlights that gut-brain connection. So that can indicate that healthy gut microbiome plays a big role in lowering even depression rates too. So like I said, the gut can impact like our feelings in our gut, and how the health of our gut can then in turn impact our mood, versus it always starting in the brain. It can start in the gut and then go to affecting our brain. So incorporating those probiotic-rich foods into our diet is a simple and effective way to support our gut health. For those who don't regularly consume these items, it's always good to talk with a dietitian too about how to incorporate them into your diet, because sometimes they are a little bit different than things that we're used to eating, but there are a lot that are easy to incorporate too. So on this slide, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of them, but the Greek yogurt's always an easy one to include. So the Greek yogurt's going to have more protein than just plain yogurt. If we can get a low-fat Greek yogurt, that's going to be very healthy for us, because it's going to be low in saturated fat, high in protein, high in the probiotics. The sauerkraut, during the pickling process and with the pickles, we get some good bacteria as well. Some of those two foods can be higher in sodium, so we do want to watch how much we're consuming, especially if we have any concerns with our blood pressure. But kefir, kimchi, miso, tempeh, all those are going to be good sources.
And what are they? Are they vegetables or?
So the question was, what are all of these? So with kefir, that is like a dairy drink. The kimchi, that is a food, so not a drink. It's the
Korean cabbage.
Yes, I was trying to remember if it was cabbage. I was thinking it was. Yes, the kind of a pickled cabbage. And then the kombucha we'll talk about in the next slide. That one is a drink. And then the miso, oftentimes you have miso, like miso paste with that one. And the tempeh, that is a meat alternative, so made with soy. Has anyone ever tried kombucha? What do you think of it? Yes. Yeah, so it does take some getting used to. It is made by it's a fermented beverage made from tea, sugar, and bacteria. So either black tea or green tea in that, and then there's sugar to help with the fermentation, and then it has the good bacteria cultures in the yeast, and then that's allowed to ferment in order to create the drink. But yeah, it does have kind of a sharp taste. It does take some getting used to, for sure. It's kind of a sweet, tart, vinegar, carbonated beverage. And again, that does contain those live cultures in it from the fermentation process. And then these cultures can help with our immune function, our digestion, and overall just adding to our good probiotics. Yes?
So if you add vodka to that, is it still good for you?
I mean, it's kind of counteracting it in a little bit, because then we're getting, the question was,
Still, it's better than drinking just vodka.
yes.
Not drinking kombucha.
Right, yes. The question was, what if you added vodka to the kombucha? So, I mean, with the alcohol, again, with the vodka, then you would be getting possibly those negative mood side effects with a depressant, but then you would get the kombucha. So obviously, if we can have it on its own, that's going to be the best for us.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Then looking at a recipe here, so we have a QR code too if you're interested in looking at that recipe. But overnight chia oats, So in this recipe, it uses Greek yogurt, so that's the good source of probiotics. We're adding lots of fiber and omega-3s with the chia seeds, and it's a really quick prep on that one too. Has anyone had overnight oats or made them? Yeah, they are a really quick way to have oats in the morning. You can either heat them up in the morning too. Some people just don't like to eat cold oatmeal, so if we prep them overnight, they soak, they get the oats, get like they would if you cook them, and then you can just eat it like that or eat it heated up too. All right, then looking a little more at antioxidants. So these can help to prevent that cell damage. So the antioxidants, again, they kind of prevent our cell damage from free radicals. So free radicals, they're unstable molecules that are found in our body. So they build up from things like stress or pollution, poor diet, smoking, or just normal metabolism. So they're things that we can't necessarily avoid completely. Sometimes what we're eating can affect how much we're having in our system, but eating the antioxidants can help clean them out and keep us healthy. So when they pile up faster than our bodies can manage, because our bodies do clear some of them out naturally, then that causes oxidative stress. So if we have more of the free radicals than our body can take care of, then we're putting that stress on our body. And when we have that oxidative stress, that can lead to depression and just overall anxiety or stress in our system. So that's where those antioxidant-rich foods come in to help with neutralizing the free radicals. So just supporting our body's natural function, and then protecting your brain and body from long-term damage. So eating more of these brain-boosting nutrients can actually help slow brain aging as well. So it's been shown to lead to even up to 7.5 years, improving mental sharpness, memory, focus, and they can support a stable mood over time as well.
And what's in the cup?
This would be with the tea. That would be tea in the slide there in the cup.
Would that be green tea?
Yeah, any like green tea or black tea. Yep.
And black tea's good?
Yeah, in moderation, that is fine. Yep. Yeah, so either green or the black tea. So berries, especially blueberries, you can see that in the picture as well. Those are very high in antioxidants. Leafy greens, the darker they are, the spinach, the kale, that's going to have a lot of nutrients. Bell peppers and carrots, those orange yellow vegetables. Citrus as well, grapefruit, oranges, almonds, other nuts as well. And then the green tea and even coffee as well in moderation. So that's, again, it's just all about how much we're having too. So we don't want to overdo it because that can affect our mood. But if we're limiting it, that can be okay. Even dark chocolate also has antioxidants too. It's just, again, watching the portions of that. So yeah, we don't want to cut out everything that's, we're thinking is bad. It's all about the balance in our system, creating that colorful plate. So eating that wide range of antioxidants, eating the rainbow, that's our best bet. So we want to get sources from all different things. We don't want to just get them from one source. All right, and another recipe here. So wheat berries, strawberry, chicken salad. So this is a good, any salad, really with the dark greens, that's going to have a good amount of antioxidants. So the berries, the strawberries, or if we did blueberries in here, the spinach, the wheat berries, which is the full wheat kernel, so it has all those different components, the germ, the endosperm, and the bran all in it, and then you just can cook wheat berries like you would rice in boiling water. Those are very good for us with a lot of fiber, a lot of nutrients, and then also just loaded with lots of vitamins in here.
Is it best to try to eat organic?
So the question was, is it best to eat organic? I personally don't buy organic. It's certainly not a bad thing, but I would say that is, if you're eating a balance of everything, you're just washing your fruits and vegetables off. I think regular is okay too. Yeah.
I was wondering, has anybody in here eaten wheat berries before? Wheat berries? Well, let me tell you, if you ever go to eat them, just know you're going to be chewing to exhaustion. Very chewy.
They do, yes.
Right?
Yeah, the wheat berries are going to be chewier than like a rice would be. Yes, yeah, they
Your jaws ready.
are more chewy. All right, another trivia question here. It's about how many different processes in the body rely on magnesium. Do you think it's A, around 30, B, around 100, or C, around 300?
C.
Yes, it is C. It is around 300. So that's a lot of different things that we need magnesium for in our system. So getting on to more magnesium. So 55% of Americans don't eat enough magnesium in their diet. So it's that essential nutrient for all those different processes in our system. And it also is something that we want to be aware of which foods have magnesium so we can include it in our diet. So magnesium has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties that can ease migraines. So some people take magnesium if they have frequent migraines. Some research shows that people with who get migraines often are the ones that are often deficient in magnesium as well. So most importantly, we just want to make sure that we're getting enough of the nutrient for our overall brain health. Can help to lower depression as well.
What are some of the foods that contain a lot of magnesium?
Yeah, so different food sources that have a lot of magnesium are listed on the slide here. So we're seeing the nuts and the seeds, spinach, beans, so like black beans, kidney beans, lentils, dark chocolate, bananas, avocados. Those are all really good sources of magnesium. And then, so the magnesium levels, they can also be boosted by decreasing alcohol intake. So when there's higher amounts of alcohol intake, it often depletes our magnesium. Sugar intake can also do the same thing, so alcohol, sugar, as well as some different medications. So if we're on an antibiotic, oftentimes it's going to decrease our magnesium. Other different medications, pharmaceutical drugs, and stress as well. So lots of different environmental factors or what we're putting in our system that can also decrease that magnesium level.
Is it best to take magnesium in pills or powders or liquid? How is it?
Yeah, so the question was, what is the best form of magnesium to take? So if you're able to get it through your food, that's how you're going to absorb it the best. If you do need to take a supplement, the pills are fine to do, really any of the sources that you named if you wanted to take it in a liquid form. But if you can take it, or if you can get it through the foods, you're going to absorb it the best. Whereas if you have a pill and get a larger amount at one time, oftentimes we're not going to absorb as much as we would if we were getting it through our food. All right, one more trivia question here. So looking at seafood, what is the recommended serving of fish? Is it A, 5 ounces, B, 4 ounces, C, 3.5, or D, 6? So lots of different guesses here on this one. But the 3.5 for the fish. So if we're thinking about kind of the size of a checkbook, that would be about the 3.5 ounce portion if it's kind of a thinner fish. And then we'll look at omega-3s. So omega-3s are in the fatty fish. That's going to be one of the best sources for omega-3s. But it's another really important piece in creating that regular healthy functions within the body. So vital for keeping our heart healthy, and it can also lower our triglycerides. So oftentimes if we have high triglycerides, one recommendation is to take a fish oil supplement if we're not getting enough fish oil through our diet. So these are essential fatty acids, which means our body doesn't produce them.
I used to get sardines in water, and now I've reverted back to getting sardines in olive oil. And I was told that's actually better for you than just plain water.
So the question, or the comment, was that getting sardines in olive oil versus water. So oftentimes I would recommend getting them in water just because the olive oil is going to add extra calories. So it is a healthy fat, so it's going to be the omega-3 fats it's going to be the monounsaturated fats with the olive oil. The sardines are going to be the omega-3s. So oftentimes if we're using the olive oil and other sources that we're cooking with it, we're going to still get those good nutrients. So you can go either way. If you're looking to save calories, the water would be less.
What are omega-3 eggs? Are there eggs without omega-3?
So it depends on what the chickens are fed. So certain eggs will be higher in omega-3s, and it'll list that on the on the package. It'll say if it has omega-3s in it or if it's a better amount in there. But it's really based on what the chickens are eating.
Speaking of eggs, are brown eggs better than the white eggs?
So are brown eggs better than the white eggs? No, they're going to be pretty comparable in the nutrition. All right. So these are essential nutrient because our body isn't going to make them, so we need to get them from our diet. They're going to be good for supporting our brain health, our brain signaling. Consumption is linked to lower depression rates, anxiety, and inflammation. And omega-3s can also impact our sleep, which is critical for our mental health. So when we have low levels of omega-3s, that can be linked to low melatonin levels, or melatonin levels affecting our deep sleep. So we need to have enough of that in order to be getting adequate sleep at night. There's the different types of omega-3s. So as I mentioned earlier, there's some that were found in plant sources, and then others that are found in the animal sources. So our best options are the animal sources for impacting our brain health, and as well as our eye health. So those are going to be found in fatty fish and seafood. And then those can also help with protecting us from depression or improving our mood overall. So those forms of the fatty acids are EPA and DHA. So in turn, the other form is the ALA, and that's going to be primarily what's in our plant sources that still offer omega-3s. So that is sometimes we're going to find that in nuts and seeds, like the chia seeds, flax seeds, beans. All those things are going to be good sources, but they're going to primarily be good for our skin and our hair health. They're not going to impact as much in our brain health.
Just a vitamin of omega-3, is that good to take too?
Yeah, so the question was about taking a vitamin with omega-3s. That is often a very good option to take because we typically aren't getting in our diet in the United States as much omega-3s as we should, so taking it in a fish oil supplement is very good. So if we can get a couple servings of a fatty fish, like the salmon, the sardines, that's going to help us kind of reach our goal for the omega-3s, otherwise taking the supplement.
What about herring?
Herring is also good.
So we should have a couple every week of salmon or sardines?
Yeah, those fatty fish, you do want to have a couple times a week. Or taking a supplement if you're not reaching that. So one plant-based source that's going to give us that ALA would be dry roasted edamame. So has anyone ever tried roasted edamame? Yeah, it's a very good snack. Going to be full of nutrients, not a lot of ingredients in there, so a pretty clean label on that. Otherwise, you can also just eat them fresh. You can steam them, eat them hot or cold, put them on a salad or however you want to serve those in a stir fry. They're very good. So they're good on fiber, gut health, supporting our gut health, which ties directly to our emotional well-being.
What is edamame?
It is soybeans that are like young, so they're the green soybeans before they're fully mature. And they come in the pod. If you're getting them like frozen or fresh, they come in a pod, and then you discard the pod and then eat the seeds. And then we'll talk a little on protein. So this is crucial for our brain health and our mental health as well. So the protein is a macronutrient, so it's one of the carbs, protein, and fat are macronutrients. And they're the building blocks for amino acids. So protein plays a big function in our brain health and our mental health. One important amino acid in particular is tyrosine, which can help the body to produce dopamine, which is our feel-good chemical in our system, and that can support our brain's reward system or feeling happy. So research does suggest that tyrosine may help to enhance mental focus and even support our stress management. So it can have that potential to aid in reducing the depression, or even being used as a depression treatment, or just making sure that we're getting adequate protein. But more research on that is needed, but it is a powerful macronutrient for us. So lots of protein sources, both animal and plant sources. So right here we can see a variety of options on the slides, but the chickpeas, Greek yogurt, milk, legumes, bone broth, poultry, seafood, black beans, yogurt, cheese.
I use soy milk because I'm lactose intolerant. Am I missing out on something by not being able to drink regular milk?
So having soy milk versus regular cow's milk, soy milk is the most comparable to cow's milk. So if you are lactose intolerant, soy is the best option. So all those other milks, they're not bad, but they're not going to have quite as much protein or all of those nutrients that you would get from the cow's milk, but the soy milk is very good too.
But am I missing out on something by not drinking it?
No, yeah, as long as if the soy milk you're doing good there.
How much protein should an older person get per day?
I would say so the question was about how much protein to get per day for someone older. I would just recommend getting a protein source with each meal and snack. So having 3 to 4 ounces of protein if it's a meat, or if it's like beans, doing a half cup serving, and just spacing it out throughout the day. So we're going to, just like everything, we'll absorb it the best if we're spacing it out, and having it regularly, keeping us also feeling fuller longer. So if we're including that with each meal and snack.
What about cheese?
Cheese is a good source of protein as well. We just want to watch how much we're having, because it does have fat in it too. It's going to be primarily the saturated fat versus the heart-healthy fats. If we're doing like a lower fat cheese, that can be a good choice to cut back on some of the saturated fat. Something like low-fat string cheese can be a really, really good snack.
And almond milk. Almond milk you can buy like an almond cream cheese substitute. Have you heard of that?
The question was about almond cream cheese substitute. I know that there are different products that, like different cheeses that are dairy free like that. I don't know if I don't know offhand the brand of like an almond milk cream cheese, but I'm sure there probably is a product out there like that.
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Seems less fat than cream cheese.
Yeah, or even if you want to go the regular cream cheese route, getting a lower fat-free or low fat, or getting the whipped varieties, that cuts back on fat too. One product that has quite a bit of protein is a perfect bar. So this is more of a meal replacement bar. So if you're looking for something quick, or say you just don't have time to prep a meal or you're on the run, this can be a good option. So this flavor has 15 grams of protein, but they have typically 15 to 17 grams of protein per bar. But it's about between 300 and 350 calories typically for one of these bars. So again, it's not necessarily just a snack. It's maybe you're having it for breakfast or something if you're not feeling really hungry. But that can give you some good protein too.
Where can you buy that bar?
So where to buy this bar? A lot of grocery stores have it. Hy-Vee is one that sells it. It is refrigerated. So it's one of the fewer protein bars that is refrigerated, but then it is shelf stable for a week. So if you take it out of the refrigerator, you can keep it shelf stable for up to a week.
Do you know how much fiber it has?
I don't know offhand the content of fiber in here, but it does have, so on the label here too, it says 20 different superfoods, so I know there is fiber in there. All right, then looking at vitamin D. So more than 90% of adults do not consume enough vitamin D, and especially in Wisconsin, we're often not getting the amount of vitamin D that we need, especially in the winter months when we're not outside or not getting that sunlight. So this is a concern because the vitamin D plays a vital role in our bone health, our immune functioning, reduces depression, regulates mood. So we certainly want to make sure that we are getting good sources of vitamin D. So a vitamin D deficiency can also increase our risk for inflammatory diseases, different things like hypertension or cardiometabolic conditions. So definitely getting out, getting in the sun when we can for a short amount of time. Obviously want to protect our skin too. But sun is going to be our best source of vitamin D. So our bodies can't produce vitamin D on our own. We need sunlight in order to convert our bodies, use the sunlight, and then our bodies can produce the vitamin D. So it converts in our system. Yeah.
And darker skin does not produce as much vitamin D as lighter skin.
Yes, that is true. The darker skin does not produce as much vitamin D as lighter skin does too. So making sure that you are getting it through your diet as well, or taking a supplement if needed. So fatty fish, those are another good source of vitamin D. So the tuna, salmon, mackerel, cheese, egg yolks, mushrooms are even a good source as well. And here's another recipe that's going to be high in vitamin D. So we're getting it from the salmon. It has 25 grams of protein. So in this honey orange salmon with roasted rosemary vegetables. And then we're also getting the omega-3s from the salmon too. And all these recipes are on Hy-Vee's website, and there's a ton of different recipes that you can go to either through the app or the website and search whatever you're looking for too. All right, and then just a few more health considerations. So if we're looking at water, that plays a big part in our health. So our body is over 50% water, so we really want to focus on getting enough to support us from or prevent becoming dehydrated and just support all those functions in our system. So just a quick way to think about our daily goal would be our body weight divided by 2, and that would be the ounces that you'd want to eat or want to drink throughout the day. Obviously, if we're sweating or we're outside, it's in the summer, we're going to need more too because we're losing more water. So if we're thinking about someone who's 180 pounds, they would need at least 90 ounces per day. And then limiting our excess sugar. So as Americans, we often rely on packaged or processed food items that may contain a lot of sugar. Oftentimes we don't even realize that they have a lot of sugar, but they may have it in there just as a preservative, and it may not taste sweet, but it's still in there. So added sugar, that can change our mental health, cause inflammation in our system when we eat it in excess. It can influence our blood sugar, so especially if diabetes is a concern, we want to keep that steady. And then can also lead to neurotransmitter dysregulation. So and as we talked about before, there's certainly a place in our diet for those comfort foods or the foods that may not be as nutritious, but we just need to monitor how much we're having of it and have it in moderation. So those processed foods, oftentimes, as we talked about before, they can give us that instant feeling of happiness or satisfying our craving, but overall it's going to be short-lived. We're not going to feel that sustained energy. So usually there's a crash later, or don't have that energy for the entire afternoon. If we're having an afternoon snack, it's not going to keep us feeling full. And then sometimes it even leads to feelings of guilt. So say we ate that piece of cake that we knew we really shouldn't have, and then it tasted good right away, but now we're feeling sluggish. We're feeling, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And it's just kind of a perpetual cycle of not feeling good about it. And oftentimes, so there's an underlying need or feelings that are causing those cravings, that's salty or sweet cravings. So being able to identify that and really target, what we need, and maybe finding a different outlet. So maybe we're craving some food, but if we just go for a walk, kind of get our mind off of it, or do a hobby, we'll feel better and not end up feeling that we need to eat that food anymore. And then avoiding alcohol. So again, just want to have alcohol in moderation. So a lot of times, like we talked about, they have those initial good feelings with alcohol, but overall overconsumption affects our mental health. So really want to have alcohol in moderation. And then movement. So movement is very important for us. It's a natural way to increase our mood. So when we're moving and feeling good, our body is producing endorphins, and that is another feel-good chemical in the brain. So the American Heart Association recommends at least 150 minutes of movement throughout the week. They recommend the moderate intensity aerobic activity, kind of falling in that category, so 150 minutes of that. And then also 2 days of resistance training or strength training throughout the week. So having that balance, that can really help us overall. So we want to maintain our muscles and our bone health, and then also getting our heart rate up. And there's just so many different ways to exercise. So it doesn't, sometimes people hear exercise and they think they've got to go run a mile or, speed walk or any of that. Any way that we can move our body, that is very good. Even just around the house, if we're cleaning, if we're dancing, playing pickleball, swimming, Pilates, yoga, anything that gets us moving, gets our heart rate going, that's going to be best for us. If it's something we enjoy, we're going to stick with it, and that'll ultimately be best for us. And say that you're new to exercise, always starting with a realistic, small goal. That's important too. So if we go from nothing to trying to hit that 150 minutes a week, oftentimes it's not going to be feasible for us, and we may give up. So if we can just start with 5 or 10 minutes of walking a day and go from there, that's the best place. All right, and then just some takeaways. So again, balance, trying to eat in that my plate, if we're thinking about that, having our plate in those portions. Aiming for 2 to 3 food groups at a meal, or 2 to 3 food groups at a snack, and then 3 to 5 food groups at a meal. So if we say we're having a meal and we're only hitting a couple of those food groups, making sure that we're having the other ones at a snack time too, just so throughout the day we're hitting all the groups and having that balance. So when we eat those balanced meals, we're going to have steadier blood sugar, better blood sugar balance. We're going to feel more satisfied and sustained, and then increase all those good mood foods throughout the day too, to hopefully keep our mood steady. increasing variety, so we always want to do that if we can. So eating the same foods will give us the same nutrients. So if we eat more of that variety, we're going to get all those different antioxidants, the different proteins, different amino acids. So we really want to create a variety in our diet.
So I tend to stick with blueberries and strawberries as far as berries. Like, should I add another berry?
So the question was about if you have like blueberries and strawberries, should you add another berry? I think as far as berries, I mean, that would be a good variety for the berries, but then maybe having other fruit too. So having
banana and clementine.
Yes, yep, having those other fruits too.
And I usually have at least 2 a day, sometimes 3.
Perfect, yeah, 2 to 3 servings, that's excellent of the fruit. Very good. And then last one, takeaway here, starting small, or starting somewhere, starting small. So you don't have to completely change everything right away, just making those small, manageable goals, and then we can always build from there. So changing everything, that gets overwhelming, but we just want to maybe focus on one nutrient type or one food group, really tackling that, feeling better in our system, and then we can build on it from there. So when we start small and then build, that'll lead to that long-term success. So it'll go from maybe a diet change to a lifestyle change. Right. And then just a little on the nutrition counseling available at Hy-Vee. So we have dietitians available, either virtual, and then right now we don't have anyone in Madison, but otherwise when we get somebody hired here again, we'll have in-person sessions available. So that's always a great way to talk more about these things, or if, say, you have a specific condition or questions about something. Medicare covers diabetes and chronic kidney disease, so if you have either of those conditions and are on Medicare, 2 sessions are always covered, completely covered each year, up to 2 hours with a dietitian. So we'd be happy to work with you at Hy-Vee.
Does that cost anything?
So with, the question was about cost. So if you, like I mentioned, if you have Medicare and have diabetes or chronic kidney disease, those sessions are covered. A lot of times commercial insurance will also cover different conditions or preventative care at no cost. So it really depends, but we always run a verification of benefits before we see you, so you know the price or if it's fully covered. But we do see a lot of good coverage with insurance. But but unfortunately with Medicare, that one is pretty cut and dry, that you do have to have a diabetes or chronic kidney disease.
What is the cost of those?
Insurance is different. Well, if you go through insurance, everybody is different for the cost, so I couldn't tell you that. But we do offer cash pay options too if you just wanted to come if it wasn't covered by insurance. And it is $125 for an hour, but you can do a 30-minute session, so then it's $62.50. So we can break it down, even a 15-minute session for $31. So whatever you're looking for, we can do. And then, so if you do have a session right in the store, then we also take you out into the aisles if you're interested after, and so that's on top of the time that we spend in the office, so you'd get the full hour in office, and then we could look at different products, reading nutrition labels, just anything that you're looking for, have questions on in the store. Right. Well, thank you for joining me today. I think we're probably right on time with Ben here, but if there's any questions, I'll be sticking around to answer those. Thank you.
How about another round of applause for Katie? What a lot of good information that she shared today. And we have some handouts over here on the table that you can take with you.